Hi guys, Josh here, aka Beards and Books. Today I'm doing my festive / Christmas book haul. Hope you enjoy. So guys, as I'm sure you've noticed if you've been around on my channel for a while, I haven't been filming for a little while. I think the last video that I did was actually back in October. No big reason for this, there wasn't any big booktube breaks, just unfortunately a problem that I'm sure a lot of you will have at some point if you're filming. Life just gets in the way, unfortunately. But I'm back, I'm going to do my haul. Hope you all had a great Christmas and a great New Year. I'm going to be putting out videos, I think once a week I'm going to do through 2019, but I will do a video sort of update on the channel, so look out for that. So jumping into the books, so some of these are books I was given as presents for Christmas, some are ones I picked up in sales and in charity shops, which is why I pick up a lot of my used books in sort of the weeks leading up, but I will let you know as I go through. First up, this is one I'm not going to talk about too much because I'm actually planning on doing a review for this one shortly, but this is Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. It's the first time I've read a book by the author. I think he's still a relatively new author, Spanish author, I believe, but this was brilliant. It blew my mind. It was so much fun. So Meddling Kids is essentially the author's take on what would happen to the kids from Scooby-Doo as they grew up. So all the cases that they solved as kids, how it affected them mentally, how they grew apart. Now, I do have to stress, this isn't a Scooby-Doo, it's not an official Scooby-Doo book, but it's made very clear that it's based on the characters from Scooby-Doo, just with their own names and slight twists on the characters. As I said, I will do a full review on this one. It's the last book that I read. I actually finished it yesterday, so it's the first book I finished in 2019, so look out for that. Next up, not one that I know too much about, in all honesty, but it's Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. I think I'm saying that right. Julie Kagawa. So Shadow of the Fox is a Asian-inspired fantasy novel, at least that's my take on it. But I actually got the idea for this one from Sarah over at Novel Serendipity. Sarah, something that we spoke about in the past before. We both got quite a keen fascination with Asia and with anything sort of Japanese, especially I read a lot of Japanese horror, so I was really intrigued when I saw this one. It's not one I've read as of yet, but if you have, let me know down in the comments what it's like. I think it's going to be part of a series, so I might wait until second book comes out, maybe. It might already be out, I really don't know. It might already be out, so I will have to double check to be sure, but definitely one I'm really looking forward to reading. So next up, one I've heard plenty of people talking about in the past, it's Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, another Spanish-based author, so apologies if I butcher these names. But it sounds really interesting. So essentially it's about a dad who takes his son to a library, I believe, and he lets him pick one book and he picks The Shadow of the Wind. So I'm just reading the blurb. The blurb doesn't give a lot away, don't worry. It sounds really interesting without giving too much away. It's one that I've heard a lot of people talk about in the past, so it's definitely one I'm looking forward to reading. It'll probably be one I do relatively quickly, but if you read it, let me know what you thought down in the comments. Another name I'm probably going to butcher. So this is The Earthsea Quartet by Ursula Le Guin. I'm terrible with these names today. I think she's French. I want to say she's French. Again, probably completely butchering that. But she's an author that I've seen a lot of people talking about. I'm quite a big fantasy fan. She's one that pops up all the time, especially on Goodreads when I've finished reading fantasy books. It's one that gets recommended quite a lot. I picked this one up from the charity shop. It's a really cool paperback. I got really lucky with it because it was only 50p and it's all 4 of the editions of the books. I imagine they're relatively short. The book's only 600 pages, so on average I'm expecting each book to be 150-ish pages, give or take, but one really looking forward to. I'm up to date on Game of Thrones, so I'm looking for a new fantasy series, which I will talk about more in another video, because there are a couple of others that I'm looking out for as well. Hopefully it'll be a good one. Next up, one I didn't even know this existed, in all honesty. So this is Road to Perdition, or Perdition, I don't know, again, probably butchering that as well. So most of you will have probably seen there was a Tom Hanks film that this was based on a little while ago. There's also a graphic novel which I think came first. I think the graphic novel first, then the film, and then these books came. But it does mention that it's an expansion novel, so I'm sure it's going to be loosely based on the film and then maybe how the characters have grown up after. But it's a really good film, really good. I think it's that old school gangster Chicago type film, if I remember correct. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that one. I don't know if this is one many people will have read. I think when I scanned it on Goodreads it didn't have many reviews, so let me know if you have. Next up, getting into the Christmas presents. Now, any of you that have watched my videos before will know I'm a massive Game of Thrones fan. So as I'm sure you can tell, I was pretty darn happy when I pulled this bad boy out. It's the illustrated edition of the first Game of Thrones. I think it is only the first Game of Thrones. So I'm completely up to date with the series now. which is really frustrating because I don't really want to go back and read the first one just yet. I think I probably will eventually, but obviously there are 2 books left in the series that I'm waiting for, so I'm probably going to wait for those before eventually at some point going back to read more. I can't talk about Game of Thrones anymore. I'm slightly obsessive. I did do a review of the series so far before, so I will link it above if you have been thinking about reading the series, but I'm a massive, massive fan. Next up, Fire and Blood, again by George R.R. Martin. Another, I think it's like a compendium edition in the Game of Thrones. So if any of you haven't seen this one, this is essentially the history and the story of the Targaryens. I think how they first came to Westeros, how they took over, and then where we end up, where the Game of Thrones world is now. This book frustrates me because this is an 800-page book. My gripe with George is that we're still waiting for the next book in the Game of Thrones series. I don't even want to know how many years people have been waiting. Luckily, I only finished the series in 2018, so I personally haven't been waiting long, but I would be pissed if I was one of the people that read it when it first came out compared to waiting for it now. It's been a long, long time. I am looking forward to reading this one purely because it's more Game of Thrones. If you're a nerd like me, getting to know more about some of your favourite characters, you can't really fight that. It is frustrating though because of how long people have been waiting for the next book. I think, like a lot of other people, the reason we're still waiting is because they're waiting until the TV series ends before they bring out the books. George has probably been paid off. The books are going to end very differently to the TV series. That's very obvious for anyone that has read all of the books that are out so far. So whether they're trying to keep them separate or not, I don't really know. But personally, I will wait for this. I'll wait to finish the series, or at least read the next book in the series, because I'll probably be in my 50s by the time George finishes it. That's if George makes it that long, but you fucking better do. But yeah, if you've read this one, I'm rambling, let me know your thoughts on it, guys. I definitely will read it, but is it worth reading whilst I'm waiting for the next Game of Thrones book, or is it something I should just leave until the end? Finally, I probably should have opened with this one. Is that not one of the prettiest books you've ever seen in your fucking life? The Shining. So, again, something I've touched on quite a few times. I'm a massive, massive Stephen King fan. This edition is the folio edition of The Shining. I think Folio are a UK-based book company. I don't know if they deliver to the States or anywhere outside, so don't go ordering this if you're outside of the UK, or at least double check on their website first. But what Folio do is they take classics, some of the big popular books across the years, and they make really, really pretty collector's editions. They're not the cheapest books in the world, hence why this was on the Christmas list, but as you can see by looking at it, they are really, really stunning. They come in like a collective hard case as well, so you can keep them nice and safe. It's actually illustrated as well, so I'll find a good picture to show you. That's the front cover. So there's a real mix of illustrations. I'm trying to pick one that doesn't really give away too much of the story. I personally haven't actually read The Shining yet, so getting to read it for the first time in this really cool edition, I can't wait. I forgot what it's like filming. It's been a while. Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this one. So this is the first of about 4 or 5 videos that I'm going to film at the minute. Try and get back in the groove and get my month just planned and filmed out and ready. If you've got any suggestions for videos that you want to see in the future, let me know down in the comments. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you to everyone that stuck around in my little hiatus. I know it's been a little while since I last filmed, but I promise you'll get videos every week from now on. So just remember to like, comment and subscribe if you've enjoyed this. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.